My heart was racing, and my palms were sweating. I pulled the pin from the tear gas grenade, drew my hand back, and dropped it between us. The staff training officer picked it up and hurled it the 40 feet it was supposed to go. He looked at me. "Mr. Dunsmore, you are destined to go through life pushing on doors marked pull." Imagine the fear in his eyes 6 years later when he would send me on a high-security escort, an inmate who was used to escaping. And then he took my radio from me and replaced it with a cell phone. It had a 4-inch battery that was 16 inches long, and the whole unit weighed about 10.5 pounds. Using it, he says, is self-explanatory. The inmate, true to form, bolted as we were leaving the hospital. My partner looked at me and he said, "Use the cell phone." So I did. I whirled it over my head, and like David after Goliath, I hurled it at him. Now, I wish I could tell you I hit him, but I hit a handicapped parking car. Now, it startled him, and he ran into this sign and knocked himself silly. We picked him up and put him back in and took him back to the institution where he belonged. Now, I wasn't always a ditz with technology. Growing up, nobody put a VCR in unless they talked to me first. You'd end up with a clock that flashed 12 for the rest of your life. It seems to me that adults have been turning to teenagers for years for advice on new technologies, which is why I turned to Justin Bieber when I wanted advice on social media. Justin Bieber, he rules the Twitter sphere. He tweets about everything, not because he's a genius, but because he craves the excitement and the attention. Now, if Justin Bieber burned a bagel and tweeted about it, how many people would know within 5 minutes? Well, the math is simple. He has 50 million followers. The average tweeter has 208. So if they all retweeted it, 208 times 50 million is 1,040,000,000 in a minute or two. That's a reach that we really need. But they waste their time with the stuff they put in. You see, social media is a lot like chemistry. If you mix it the wrong way, you can get a bad reaction. Put water into chlorine, and you'll kill half this room. Put chlorine into water, and you've got something really, really special. We're not using social media the way we should. This is Bryce Hogg. He's a 15-year-old boy. Like every other 15-year-old boy, he doesn't spend a lot of time in the house. He doesn't listen to the radio or watch TV. He tricked out that lawnmower till it does 30 kilometers an hour. It actually has stacks on the back of it now. He goes out on his bike with a GoPro camera on his head and tweets that and puts it on Facebook for his friends. His friends dearly love him. I know that because I spent 2 days with them last summer searching for Bryce's body on the shores of the Grand River. That's me in the middle teaching them how to poke through the grass and feel the difference between a body and a rock. The picture here shows what the water level would have been like the night that Bryce went into the river. Bryce didn't listen to the radio. He didn't listen to TV, so he didn't know the river was high. He went in here, which is the Irvine River, and that night it may have been 2.5 to 3 feet. On a hot July night, that's the call for young men and women to go swimming. They had no idea that in their tubes, 3 bends around, was this waiting for them. It was like turning right into the 401 out of your driveway. They had no chance. We need to use social media a little bit differently. We need to tweet to our kids the dangers of life, because I don't want anybody to have to do what Bryce's mother Susan did on Christmas morning and post that message. It's truly heartbreaking, but we have to get through the haze of social media. I would like to see one day where someone like Cindy Robinson's driving home from work and she tweets her daughter Haley that the river is coming up, and Haley tweets her friend Renee, who tweets her friend Sarah, and all of a sudden all the students of St. John Kilmarnock know in a minute and a half to stay away from the river. That's the kind of social media we need. A friend of mine said to me, "Neil, Twitter can't save the world." And I said to him, a quote from a friend of mine, Bruce Lloyd, "I'm not in this to save the world. I'm in this to save a life. If you learn how to tweet and tweet properly, the life you save just may be sitting in this room with you tonight. Mr. Chair, how about that group hug?